recognized project.
I don't know it yet.
Our mics aren't on, I think, Lance. Oh, they're there. The November 26th meeting of the Planning Commission is now in order. Please call the roll.
Barch.
Here.
Bollinger. Demakis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Oakhalter. Keller.
Yes.
Coop.
Here.
Larshis.
Here.
Offerdahl.
Yes.
Evertson.
Yes.
Wagonass.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll look for a motion from the commissioners for approval of the October 29th meeting minutes. Motion by Coop,
I'll second it.
second by Severson. Please call the roll.
Larshis. Yes. Offerdahl.
Yes.
Evertson. Wagonass.
Yes.
Wetzler. Barch.
Yes.
Bollinger. Demakis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Oakhalter.
Yes.
Keller.
Yes.
Coop.
Yes.
Motion passes. Our first agenda item, the Family Recreation Edition from the Minot Park District, has been held and will be held on the January meeting. So that agenda item has been held. We'll move on to the second agenda item today, which is an application by Miles Dittis for a 29-foot variance to allow construction of a detached three-car garage in the front yard. The purpose of the garage is typical uses as parking vehicles and storage. The garage will be located at least 6 feet from the front property line. This property is located at 5030 14th Street Southeast. And if I could have city staff's comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have kind of a unique property here. This is out in the 2 mile. If you head south out of town on the highway and turn on 54th Avenue and go a mile over to 14th and back north, it's that little red spot there at the end of the development. And here's an enlarged view of it. You may recall, some of the commissioners weren't on the commission at the time, but about a year ago, these two houses to the top of the picture were in for a subdivision and a variance because the house on the left wanted to be able to build an outbuilding, and the only flat place is where you can see at the bottom left corner there is actually part of the other lot. So you can see on this that blue box was part of the right-hand lot, and so at that meeting, the commission and then ultimately the council approved straightening out that lot line, and a variance was granted for Lot 2 to be less than the minimum 2 acres, 1.57 acres. So we fast forward to today, and there's a new owner of Lot 2, and they'd like to do the same thing to be able to build an outbuilding on their lot. And if you recall, the issue a year ago was topography, and it's so again today. If you look at these contours, wherever the blue and pink lines are, the closer together they are, the steeper it is. So you can see, especially along the left side of the picture there, that's a very, very steep slope, and it's a draw that runs in front of the existing house that's shown in tan. And basically the yellow area that's kind of outlined, which is pretty much just the driveway, is flat enough to build a building. Everything else drops off. And this also, I should say, if we back up and look at this aerial, this isn't a road that goes any further. This is kind of a private drive that dead ends, and it splits and goes to both these houses, and then it drops off into the canyon. So it's not like there's going to be a lot of traffic driving through here. So the applicant proposes to build a 24 by 36 accessory building into that side hill about 6 feet off of the property line in that flat area. And the issue with that, of course, is that accessory buildings are supposed to be in the side or rear yard. And if we draw a line across the front face of the building, then obviously this is in the front yard. And so the applicant is asking for a variance to build a garage in the front yard. and it's based on the topography on the site. So the findings of fact go through the history a little bit, and the fact that there's no other space, the steep slopes on the lot make the preferred location the only place it can be done. Staff recommends approval of the variance request to allow the owner to construct this accessory building in the front lot due to the steep topography. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Lang at this time? Okay, at this time, I'll ask if there's any people in attendance who would like to speak in favor of this agenda item to please come forward at this time. Any of those either for or against this agenda item? Seeing none, we will close the public portion of this agenda item, and I will ask the commissioners for a motion, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, that was a motion by Demakis and a second by Offerdahl. That motion with, based on findings of fact?
I'm sorry, yes. Yeah, based on staff findings of facts and recommendations.
Okay. We've got a, okay, call the roll, please.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hochhalter,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes. Yes.
Larches,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Severson,
Yes.
Wagonest.
Yes.
Wexler, Barch,
Yes.
Bollinger, Demakis.
Yes.
Motion carries. Our next agenda item is an application by Nicholas Marshall for a variance to an egg setback requirement of 35 feet to any property line. The applicant is requesting a 15-foot variance to build at 20 feet from the east property line. The variance is requested so an applicant can build an indoor house riding arena and is located at 7301 11th Avenue Southeast. If I could please get city staff's comments.
Yes, sir. Indoor horse riding arena. Okay, here's a vicinity map that shows the lot. It's a large lot, 7 acres in size, and located in the 2-mile jurisdiction. And it's in an area where there are some other large lots with other accessory buildings. The applicant would like to build an indoor riding arena because his wife is an avid equestrian rider. And I don't know much about horses, but I think she does several different kinds of styles and whatnot. And if you look at the site here, this blow-up, it's a little bit misleading because this aerial was taken in 2015, and things have changed since then. All those little outbuildings have gone away. The barn remains, and the corrals and the pens remain. So to jump forward here, this is off of Google Earth. So this is a more accurate representation of what's out there today. The applicant has built a house there, and you can see the barn that runs north-south, and approximate location of the indoor equestrian arena that they would like to locate 20 feet from the east property line. In ag zoning, the rules concerning agricultural accessory buildings are pretty lenient compared to other zones. There's no maximum size, there's no maximum height, there's no maximum coverage, but there is a 35-foot setback from any property line. And so the applicant would like to, if everything were, in a perfect world, I guess, if he could put it where he wanted to put it, he'd put it where it's shown, which is 15 feet closer to the east lot line than what the 35-foot setback is. I don't know, there's not as obvious of a hardship with this one as the one we just talked about with the steep slopes. I don't think it's an unreasonable request given the location and the neighborhood. And I come up with some reasons why I think it fits and it'd be okay, but at the end of the day, I don't know that those meet the criteria for a hardship. So it's up to the commission, I guess, to decide if you agree with those or if you don't and you don't feel comfortable with with granting the variance. But basically, I talked about the ag zoning. I think that's an advantage in this case for him. The size of the lot, although the size of the lot means there's a lot of room to move it, to put it somewhere. But it does, in order to operate efficiently, need to be connected to the stable, to the barn. And it's well set back from the other lot lines. It's 175 feet from the road, for example. And there are trees on all 3 sides of the property. There's zoning is commercial to the north, and I have a slide here that shows, whoops. There's a zag, and it's got commercial to the north, and there's R1 around it, also some manufactured housing, so kind of some mixtures of zones, but even in the R1, there are some larger outbuildings, not as large as this one, but good size accessory buildings. And it's interesting that if a person were to put an accessory building on like a agricultural residential or an R1 with a 16-foot sidewall, which is the maximum allowed, they could be 3 feet from the side lot line. And in agricultural, it's 35 feet. And the applicant's staying 20 feet back, which is a pretty good setback. But again, don't know that represents a hardship. So there's the setup for you to consider. Findings of fact, they'd like to do this arena, and they'd like to put it 15 feet away or 20 feet away from the lot line. So they've applied for the 15-foot variance, and I listed the things I just talked about. The size and the setbacks from the other lot lines, that's kind of behind the barn, and it's got a vegetative buffer, and the location would be the ultimate location for functionality and whatnot for the applicant. And he is here in the audience if you would like to ask him any questions, but that's all I have for you. If you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Lang at this time?
Mr. Lang, on the floor plan, it shows a hay storage. Is that, I don't know if that's indoor or outdoor, it kind of looks like it's on a floor plan, it might be enclosed. Is that part of this?
We didn't talk about hay storage, I guess, when the applicant was in. I would guess it would probably be in a loft. But I don't know that.
I'll ask that.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions for Mr. Lang? Yes.
There were no protests on this, were there?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Any other questions, Commissioners? Okay, at this time, I'll ask anybody who's here to speak in favor of this agenda item to please come forward if they would like to. Any of those that are in favor or opposed to this agenda item, please come forward. Okay, seeing none. Oh, we got some music. I will close the public portion of this meeting and ask the commissioners for a, what am I looking for again? A motion, please. There we go. Struck me there.
I'll make a motion to approve based on staff finding of fact and recommendations.
I'll second.
A motion to approve by Wagonist and seconded by Larshus. Is there any further discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Wetzler,
Yes.
Barch,
Yes.
Bollinger, Demacus,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hochhalter,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Larshus,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Severson,
Yes.
Wagoness.
Yes.
Motion carries. That'll bring us to our next agenda item, which is a subdivision of Belmont Edition, lots 23 through 26, to be known as Belmont 3rd Edition, lots 1 and 2. This is a correction to the legal description, and I will turn it over to city staff for their comments, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This is really a housekeeping issue. You may recall just a couple of months ago, this subdivision came through the commission and it was recommended for approval. And I'm not sure if it went to council or if it was realized before it actually got on the docket, but there was a mistake. There was error in the legal description, and it would not have been able to be filed, recorded at the recorder's office. So we're bringing this back through with the correct legal description to be called Belmont 3rd Edition. And then it can be, well, it has to go back to council as well. But I couldn't call it an amended subdivision because an amended subdivision is when it's already been recorded and then there's a mistake found and then it has to be amended. So I don't know officially what to call this, but basically we're just correcting the mistake and running this subdivision back through the process. So if you have any questions, findings of fact, and then staff recommends approval.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Lang? Seeing none, if there's anyone in the audience that would like to come forward to speak either for or against this agenda item, please come forward now. We'll close the public portion and ask the commissioners for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, based on finding of fact and looking at the staff recommendations, I'd make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Wetzler,
Second.
second by Barch. Any further discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Wetzler,
Yes.
Barch,
Yes.
Bollinger, Demacus,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hochhalter,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Larches,
yes,
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Severson,
Yes.
Wagonest.
Yes.
Motion passes. That will bring us to our next agenda item, which is an application by Trinity Homes to combine Trinity First Edition, Lot 1 and Outlot 8, Westum's Edition, Block 2 and half vacated 8th Avenue Northeast, and Spring Lake Park Edition, Lots 5 through 8, Block 3 and half vacated alley and half vacated 8th Avenue Northeast, and Spring Lake Park Edition, Lots 1 through 4, Block 3 and half vacated alley on South and half vacated alley on East, and vacated 8th Avenue Northeast into one lot to be known as Trinity Second Edition. Trinity also requests a zone change from R3B, which is multiple residential district, and R1, which is single-family residential district, to RM, which is medium residential district. This property is located at 305 8th Avenue Northeast. If I can get city staff's comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the Trinity Nursing Home site on 8th Avenue and 3rd. And about a year ago or so, the representatives from Trinity and our design team came to DRT, Development Review Team meeting, and they had acquired, I think they've had these for some time, but there's 2 residential lots that are shown in the yellow box there. And they wanted to tear down the houses and incorporate that area into the parking lot. They also talked about maybe building a maintenance building on that property, and they wanted to know what the city requirements would be. So we told them that we would like to see the 16 or so lots plus half vacated alleys and streets and all that stuff that Mr. Hanson just read, that took a minute to read, and to change it to one lot, which is Trinity Second Edition, which is 1 second to read, just to clean things up and make it easier. And also, the R3B is a defunct zone, to rezone it to RM medium density residential district, because that's the zoning district that nursing homes are permitted use in. So just kind of, again, housekeeping, it's an opportunity here working with Trinity to get the zoning and the subdivision right. And there you see the zoning, everything's R3B except for the 2 houses were R1. It would all be RM now. The future land use map actually shows it as medium density residential, so that is in conformance. And there's the subdivision plat. You can see all the multiple lots and streets and things that are now in one boundary to be known as Trinity Second Edition. And so, it's missing my title there, I guess. But findings of fact, it talks about the history and that we advised them to do the subdivision and zoning. For whatever reason, they didn't at first, but now they're back before you to do that. And when staff recommends approval of the rezoning and also the subdivision. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Lang at this time? Okay, seeing none, I'll call those in the attendance that are in favor of this agenda item to come forward. Those in favor or opposed? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. I will ask the commissioners for a motion.
Motion to approve based on staff finding of fact and recommendations.
Second.
Second by, I saw the motion by Wigness, second by Keller. Any further discussion, commissioners? Okay, please call the roll.
Wetzler,
Yes.
Barch,
Yes.
Bullinger, Demacus,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hochhalter,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Larches, Offerdahl,
Yes.
Severson,
Yes.
Wagonest.
Yes.
Motion carries. And we do have one item of other business today, and at this time, call up the Assistant Public Works Director, Jason Sorensen.
Good evening, Commissioners. Just wanted to provide you an update. It's been about a year, I believe, since I was before this body with a zoning request for the landfill expansion. After that was denied in January, we pulled that item, and we've been doing a lot of work since then. We had a public meeting. We engaged with the focus group to make sure all the issues and concerns that people had raised while we were going through the planning commission were, vetted, looked into, made sure all the concerns were understood. Since then, we've done a cost analysis. We've done a detailed siting analysis to see what looking at a facility outside of Minot might look like. So most recently, I've been in front of council, and I thought it was pertinent that I come before this body to make sure you guys understood that I'm not sidestepping the planning commission process. This is an important decision that council needs to weigh in on, so I know what direction that I need to go, whether I'm in front of this planning commission again for a rezone request, or if I'm in front of another planning commission body, or where we're heading. So, like I said, just wanted to provide a real short, real quick update to let you guys know that depending on how council acts, I may or may not be back, but just since it's been a while since I've been here, just in case you guys were wondering whatever happened to the issue. It's been in the news lately, and yes, I've been speaking with council, but we haven't forgotten about you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Sorensen. Commissioners, any questions at this time? Seeing none? Okay. This meeting is adjourned.